Session 127. Good evening. There is no reason to blame yourselves if you occasionally miss a session. However, it is a good idea to make it up. We were speaking, among other things, of intensities, and this is connected with both dream symbols and other such data. Dreams, having an electrical reality, as I explained, must be decoded to have meaning to various levels of the subconscious and the personality. In Robert's predictions, he has only begun. There will be other significant data that will be observed, as he learns to use his ability. And the search of this significant material that he will observe from his predictions will also apply to dream symbols. This has to do, again, with intensities, which are decoded in many and complicated fashions. The meaning, so to speak, must be separated and made meaningful to many psychological areas, some of which would not even seem to speak the same language. To be so decoded, they are also delicate manipulations in terms of fine distinctions. An intensity pattern is made up of electrical signals. Each slight variation in intensity is meaningful from this information. As to physical time, placement in space and the like must be comprehended, and this particular specific type of information is a relatively small part of the original dream experience, which is composed of electrical pattern, thick only in terms of intensity. The various levels of the subconscious and the personality are attuned to the particular intensities of the dream experience, which they can perceive and interpret, and which has meaning to them. The dream experience is much larger, and again, more concentrated than is supposed. It is also constant, but simultaneous, and not continuous in terms of one event following the other. Various portions, then, of the entire self are attuned to their own intensities, picking up signals, interpreting only portions of the whole dream experience. I am using the term dream experience because it is a familiar word to you. However, the dream experience, you see, represents only a portion or particular range of intensities from a larger experience. In dreams, you perceive but part. I have told you that you create your dreams. In actuality, not in theory alone. You create an actuality, a dream universe, as real as the physical universe. It simply cannot be directly perceived within the physical universe. There is always interaction. You can perceive the dream experience. You can receive its particular intensities, because you have created the dream experience within the universe of those intensities. But the dream universe and the dream experience, like thoughts and emotions, are independent of you in existence. You influence the dream universe, but you cannot stop a dream experience after you have created it, and you must create it within the small range of intensities available for its existence, for there are no other conditions or agreeable ranges of intensity within which the dream experience can exist. You must then project or materialize the dream universe outside of the physical self in an electric reality, and then reinterpret it, because the original dream experience has an electric reality that cannot be perceived or used, even by its creators, until it is decoded. I suggest your break. The dream universe, the dream experience, is only a small portion of another experience. The experience of emotions and thoughts and other psychological realities that do not take up space physically within your universe all represent portions of small portions of what I will for now term initial experience. Psychological reality, emotional reality, and the reality of thought also become valid to human personality through their existence as various intensities. All psychic realities are in this classification also. All of these, with the dream experience, are received and recognized by various levels of the self through their identifying intensities. They are then decoded and the experience is translated or interpreted into meaningful data. In the original dream experience then, the electrical reality of the dream is broken down, so to speak, into its varying intensities by the mind. The mind then formulates meaningful psychological symbols, but still in terms of electric symbol, and only in the brain are the particular symbols then sent to the various levels of the human personality. One symbol will be meaningful to many portions of the personality. The symbol will be the same. That is, any given symbol will be the same, but it will be so chosen by the mind that it will have definite meanings to various portions of the self, and the meanings may be quite different. In the breaking down process, the intensities are separated into the most minute values, each value an electrical impulse representing any one of many references. And all of these references are contained within a given impulse, electrical impulse, that will be decoded by the mind. The mind breaks the impulse down into more specific terms, collects or attracts within separate fields those impulses within the same general range, and then forms from them a new electrical pattern, composed of impulses now more meaningful to the individual, because they have been somewhat deciphered and put together in a more recognizable form. This form is the electric symbol. It is received by the brain and changed into a more or less pure psychological symbol. Or in the case of a dream, it is changed into a dream symbol. The dream as perceived by the mind, then, is a pattern of electrical impulses, or more or less within a particular range of intensity. The mind breaks down this pattern into still more refinements of intensities, each refinement making possible a refinement of meaning. The dream is then passed on to the brain, where the electric symbol becomes a psychological or dream symbol. No intensity of impulse is actually ever the same as any other. It is for this reason that such a rich diversity in such symbols is possible, and it is for this reason that one symbol can have various meanings to different levels of the personality. The various meanings of any given symbol are expressed and recognized as the intensity ever so minutely changes. This, as I have explained, also has something to do with your idea of physical time. Within the mind, the dream has an electrical reality. Within the brain, the dream has an electric and psychological reality, a much weaker electrical reality. That is, it still exists as an electrical reality, but it is not recognized as such by the brain or the psychological awareness of an individual. To the individual, the dream has only a psychological reality. I am going to give you a break, and then discuss what I mean by difficulties of interpretation concerning predictions and dreams. When I spoke of interpretation of data in predictions or clairvoyance, I was not speaking in terms of psychological interpretation. For such material to be made meaningful to the conscious personality, A training of abilities along the lines of interpretation is definitely required in most cases. Such material is a part of what we termed the initial experience, which is of electrical nature, received through the mind, broken down there as explained, and then received by the brain, where it is changed or interpreted to psychological symbol form. It has changed, in other words, as far as pattern is concerned. New patterns are formed, groupings of intensities that will be meaningful to various levels of the personality. To make such data meaningful to the conscious self requires other steps of subconscious interpretation that actually have to do with an electrical regrouping and realignment. This cannot be done, obviously, at a conscious level. The subconscious can be trained to do so, but usually it is necessarily hampered in that it cannot be used those ranges of intensity which make up meanings to the ego. Hence, the appearance of what you may call distortions. This data must be interpreted in such a way that the conscious mind then can give a prediction, say, but also in such a way that its reality exists simultaneously with consciousness, but never so replacing consciousness that the ego grows alarmed. This is often done by the use of symbols, which are not immediately apparent to consciousness, and thus are allowed through. Then it is too late for the ego to close its gates against them. But the symbols chosen must be of a nature so that they will become meaningful to consciousness, to as large an extent as possible after emergence. The experimentation with daily predictions will show you quite clearly, with practice, the nature of such distortions, as you see the difference between the predicted event and the event that occurs. Also for economy and for the reason given above, symbols may stand for more than one physical reality, and so may they in some of the earlier predictions given in this material. We have spoken of expectations. These, you see, are electrical realities, which may explain their importance. For you not only sometimes predict so-called future events, but you create their actuality within the electrical field, and therefore ensure their existence one way or another within the physical field. I told you that in measuring your physical time, you actually measure intensities. Your creations in the electrical universe may be said to appear as your future in the physical universe. This point is extremely important and will explain many other questions. My use of terms such as electrical universe and so forth is merely for the sake of simplicity. They are all one, but to explain them, I must seem to dissect them and separate them, so that you may see their various identities. This has been a most fruitful session in terms of significant material. I will not keep you now, but do intend that we hold our regular session tomorrow evening as planned. That said, good night, says.